Someone told me yesterday if they had a time machine, they would go back to the year 2000 and stock up on $300 buffaloes. I had to tell them it's a waste of brain power thinking about made-up fantasies because gold buffaloes weren't even around in 2000. All right, it's been a long week of Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals and distractions, and so we're just going to jump back into the normal stuff. I get two pretty common questions. Well, actually, one is a comment and one is a question. The question is what I would do if I was starting out today with no gold, no nothing. And the comment is basically, if I could only go back to the year 2000 and pick up a load of gold at $300, I would be set. And those are really just two different views of the same thing. Now, if I was to go back to the year 2000, I wouldn't devote all of my money to gold, honestly. Even at $300 an ounce, there are other things that have outperformed gold, so I would want to make sure that I wasn't just going all in on any one thing. Now, obviously, we can't go back and we can't know that Apple was going to outperform gold or anything like that. We don't have that hindsight. We don't have that foresight. But we could all agree that diversification would have been a really good thing. And I think we could probably also agree that even though we can't go back and tell ourselves what to buy for the future, if we could just shake ourselves a little bit and get ourselves in the right mindset, that would have been huge. So regardless of specific purchases, just being in a mindset to make some good purchases, some good investments would have changed things dramatically. So if we could focus in on the topic that does not require a time machine, we could take those two things, in openness to diversification and then a specific mindset, we could put together a pretty good plan of what we would do if we were starting from nothing. And that's what this video is going to be about. So the first thing I would do is I'd put together a plan, and that plan would figure out what my monthly investment budget would look like. So from that, whatever it is, it might be $1,000 just to pick a number. From that, I would create a budget with automatic scheduled transfers to a brokerage account, to a crypto exchange, we'll come back to that one, and then to an account for hard assets like gold or silver. Now, I'm not going to dive into that brokerage account piece, but if I were to go back and tell myself to buy a bunch of gold, I would want to make sure that buying that gold didn't prevent me from buying Apple stock or Amazon stock, so the net effect wouldn't have been negative. And regardless of what you think about stocks and where the stock market is going, I could definitely say that if I could go back to 2000 or whatever year we're imagining all of this to come from and just invest more, I'd be in a better place to buy gold or retire or whatever it is that I have for gold. So from a big picture perspective, I would invest more. I'd leave less money sitting in a savings account knowing that I could quickly convert stock purchases or gold into cash anytime I need it. And I would waste less on things like expensive watches or whatever else. I mean, you can fill in the blank. So that's the first thing I would do. I would auto invest in, I don't know, you could use Robinhood, I suppose. I use Vanguard. Now, when it comes to metals, I would shop less and I would be more consistent. I wouldn't go back to the 2000 me and tell him to spend a lot of time and money shopping for random stuff, random gold. If that time machine was a thing, I'd rather step out of it into the present and have a pile of buffaloes and eagles. That's it, hard stop. Now, the big mistake that I made and what I would try to correct going forward is that the younger me was buying sporadically. And that's not just gold, that's everything. And that will sting you since it's human nature to pay attention when assets are performing well. And that means you're buying when prices are high. So step one for me was to auto invest in a market account. Step two would be to make consistent scheduled purchases of popular liquid gold coins and not shop around for weird stuff. And as a quick aside here, just looking back over 10 years or whatever, I lost a lot of money to general impatience. If you just look at the online retailers that sell silver and gold and you look at the last column for the price on credit card purchases, it's a lot higher than anything else. So if you're to buy an ounce of gold right now today, it costs you about $80 more if you use a credit card. And that's maybe extreme because I think that's what AppMex was charging. I recently looked at that, but I'd be lying if I told you that I've never used a credit card to buy gold online. And the only reason to do something dumb like that is because you're impatient. Now, if I was starting today with nothing and no bad habits, I would have those purchases scheduled out, and I would either figure out the wire transfer, sending the check, or I wouldn't buy online at all. I would buy only locally. Now, availability makes it really hard to say you'd only do one thing or another, but patience will prevent you from making the bad mistakes. And because it's me that would just be starting out today and not you don't have to take my advice, I would also auto-invest into a cryptocurrency exchange. And I know that's not popular around here, but it's hard to deny how well Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing this year. So if I was going to just put some numbers to this, just to make this a concrete example of what I would do, and I'm going to have to guess a little bit, and these numbers are just totally made up, so bear with me. I'm going to work from $1,750 a month. Just to make things easy, because I'm working backwards, what I would do is I would auto-invest $1,000 into the market. I'd take my next $550 and I would buy gold every month. And then I'd take that remaining $200 and I would put it towards whatever's hot at the moment. This year I would be putting it toward Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, just to be super clear, this isn't me telling you what I think you should do. I'm just telling you what I would do because I get a lot of questions that basically ask what percentage of my investable income goes towards gold. Now, any kind of 401k or IRA that I would have available, especially if there was a corporate match, I would max that out, and I do max that out. Any kind of tax-deferred investment like that, though, comes right out of my paycheck, so I'm not including that in that whatever number I picked, $1,750 a month. Okay, now I know a fair number of you on here really had to suffer through that talk about stocks, that talk about cryptocurrencies, just to hear that little part about gold, and maybe you're wondering, what about silver? All right, so far and away, my least popular videos are the ones where I talk about silver, I talk about cryptocurrency, and here again, I'm going to be talking about both, so I think I know how this one is going to perform. Now, I don't buy silver because I buy gold. And the reason I buy gold rather than silver primarily is because it has a lower premium. I also have 12 years of history with silver, and I'll be honest, it's not a good history. So if I was starting out today with nothing, I wouldn't repeat that. And one thing that's very strange to me on YouTube is all of the talk about the gold to silver ratio. It's one more negative check against me. But the gold to silver ratio makes sense if you're interested in only two things, gold and silver. Silver has a high premium and a high transfer cost, so it's a very expensive layaway program if your goal is to get gold by buying silver. I've seen a few anecdotes on YouTube where people say that they had a friend that they wanted to make a trade with, so they traded their silver for gold, everything turned up aces. Well, even if that's the way it really went down, you have to assume that that's not a likely event. More likely, you're going to be at the local coin shop and the dealer is going to treat it as two separate events, a sale of the silver and a purchase of the gold. And what that means is that you're going to lose most or all of the premium that you've already invested into the silver, and then you'll pay it again on whatever you're trading for, which in this case would be gold. Like I said, I know this isn't going to be popular. I know there are people out there who are just going to be like, that's just your opinion, man. But if I or we were starting out with nothing today, I know I would want clear plans that I'm in control of. I would not buy silver with any intention of converting it to gold because I wouldn't want to get caught in that trap of having to wait for two separate assets to perfectly align in order to be able to hit my desired outcome. It just doesn't make sense. I don't want to be in the back seat with two drivers who aren't cooperating. Now, everything I've said up to now is an opinion of what I would do. I'm not saying you have to do it. It is very much off the cuff. The two important things here, I think it's two, it might be three. I'll just start talking and we'll see how many there are one, that you get yourself in the right mindset, and two, that you put together a plan that you don't stray from, you don't waste money with. That third one is diversification. It's incredibly important to me. It's not what everybody wants to hear, though, and I'm not here to preach at you. You can take that or you can leave that one. It's up to you. If any of this felt vague, that's not my intention. Once in a while, I'll get a comment from somebody who says, this video is kind of like the last video, or you've already said that. I try not to be repetitive. That $550, though, is a pretty specific number. It's enough to get you a 1/4 ounce of gold consistently right now. That $1,000 going into stock market was 100% made up. I just picked a number. I kind of made up the cryptocurrency number too, but that would have been 150 going to Bitcoin and 50 going to Ethereum. None of that's advice, it's just kind of sort of what I do, and I know it's really easy to say certain things but not give details, so I tried to give a few details. And then I'll just try one time to clear up the silver conversation. I'm not saying that anybody should not buy it. I don't. I buy a little bit because I want to have a finite amount of silver. If silver is in your mix, great. If cryptocurrency is not your bag, great. I went a lot of years, though, without having a very clear plan of what I was buying. And like I mentioned earlier, what it resulted in is more sporadic buying. So buying when I'm interested in something, which in a lot of times means buying when the prices are high. So if I could start over and I could avoid that, I could not waste as much money, I could have planned purchases, the next 10 years would outperform my last 10 years. And really my only hope in making this video is that you might think about your own plans so you can do the same. So that's it. I'm going to leave you with that. If you don't mind hitting that like button to kind of counteract all those dislike buttons I'm sure I got from talking about silver and crypto, I would appreciate it. Also, there is a bell button down there that will notify you when new videos come out. Hit that if you're interested in this conversation on an ongoing basis. All that's up to you, though. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching and have a great day.